Hello, everyone. Today I'll be presenting an analysis of Wes Craven's 1984 horror classic, A Nightmare on Elm Street. We'll be looking closely at how the film's cinematic elements, things like structure, visual style, sound, and direction, work together to create one of the most memorable horror experiences in film history. My name is Eric Corzat, and this is Humanities 246. For anyone unfamiliar, A Nightmare on Elm Street tells the story of a group of teenagers in the town of Springwood who are terrorized in their dreams by Freddy Krueger, a vengeful killer who attacks them while they sleep. If you die in your dream, you die in real life. Our protagonist, Nancy Thompson, realizes she must uncover the truth about Freddy's past and find a way to survive. In this presentation, I'll break down the cinematic tools Craven uses to build tension, create fear, and keep the audience guessing about what's real and what's not. So, dramatic structure in the film. The film follows the classic three-act structure as outlined by Sid Field. In Act 1, we meet the characters and witness the first nightmare attacks, immediately creating mystery and fear. Act 2 raises the stakes. Freddy's attacks become more frequent. Nancy begins her investigation, and we uncover his backstory as a child killer burned alive by the parents of Elm Street. In Act 3, Nancy takes control, setting traps and confronting Freddy head-on in the dream world. Each act escalates the danger, keeping us fully engaged until the final confrontation. One of the film's strongest themes is the fear of the unknown. Freddy is supernatural, unpredictable, and can strike anywhere. We also see a blurred line between dreams and reality, making it difficult for both characters and viewers to know what's safe. Teen vulnerability is another major theme. The adults either don't believe the kids or try to hide the truth, leaving them isolated. And finally, Freddy represents repressed trauma and the danger of ignoring past crimes. The sins of the parents come back to haunt the children. Cinematography plays a huge role in creating fear. Low-angle shots make Freddy look larger than life, towering over his victims. Lighting is key. Waking world scenes are brighter, while dreams scenes are darker with heavy shadows, creating a shift in mood. Close-ups and tight framing during dream sequences increase claustrophobia, trapping us with the characters. A great example is when Nancy pulls Freddy's glove out of the wall. The frame feels tight, the lighting eerie, and the audience feels her panic. The production design distinguishes the dream world from reality. In dreams, we see distorted sets, warped hallways, twisted staircases, and the iconic boiler room. The Thompson household starts off looking like a normal suburban home, but in nightmares, it becomes oppressive and threatening. And, of course, Freddy's design is unforgettable. Burnt skin, the red and green sweater, and his bladed glove. Makeup effects bring his scarred face to life, making him as terrifying visually as he is conceptually. Color choices also carry meaning. The dominant reds and greens create unease and foreshadow danger. Freddy's sweater not only makes him instantly recognizable, but it also visually disrupts darker backgrounds, making him unavoidable to the eye. Dream sequences often have muted or surreal color tones, helping the audience instantly feel when they've crossed into Freddy's world. In 1984, computer-generated effects were limited, so most scares were done practically. Freddy's glove, real stunts, and physical attacks on set gave the action weight and realism. Special effects used in camera tricks, like slow motion and forced perspective, to make dreams feel unstable. Early optical effects let Freddy do impossible things, like stretching through walls or appearing from thin air, which enhanced the dreamlike, unpredictable nature of the film. The editing pace changes depending on the scene. Attack scenes use quick cuts to disorient the viewer and create chaos. Cross-cutting between the waking world and the dream sequence builds suspense, as we're never sure which reality we're in. On the other hand, slower editing and build-up scenes stretches out the tension, keeping us on edge before the next big scare. Sound is one of Freddy's most effective weapons. The scraping of his blades against metal is a signal that danger is coming. During attack scenes, dialogue is minimal, allowing screams, footsteps, and environmental sounds to dominate. Silence before a sudden sound spike is used masterfully to trigger jump scares. Charles Bernstein's score is simple but incredibly effective. The eerie synth melody is unforgettable. It almost feels like a lullaby gone wrong. The music is often quiet and atmospheric, then suddenly spikes in volume for scares, catching the audience off guard. The main theme becomes Freddy's calling card. You hear it, and you know he's coming. The film is a supernatural slasher, combining the teen stalking formula with a unique dream-based killer. It follows classic slasher rules: teen victims, isolated settings, and a final girl. But it also subverts them by giving Freddy limitless reach. Sleep is no longer a safe escape. In fact, it's the most dangerous place to be. Robert Englund's Freddy is more than just a masked killer. He has personality. His body language is deliberate, his grin is unnerving, and he plays with his victims like a cat with a mouse. Heather Langenkamp's Nancy evolves from a frightened teen to a determined survivor. By the climax, she's facing Freddy on her own terms, and the audience is rooting for her. Wes Craven's blends gritty realism, teen drama, parental conflict, with surreal nightmare imagery. This creates a horror grounded in reality but fueled by imagination. We see his recurring interest in psychological fear and self-aware storytelling, something he'd later refine in Scream. By setting the story in an ordinary suburb, he made it feel like this could happen to anyone, especially you. To conclude, in the end, A Nightmare on Elm Street endures because it mixes dream logic with real-world stakes. The themes, visuals, sound design, and direction all serve the story, creating a horror experience that lingers long after the credits roll. It didn't just scare audiences, it changed the slasher genre forever. Here are the sources that I used for this analysis. First, I used the film A Nightmare on Elm Street, directed by Wes Craven. Then, The Recreational Terror, Women and the Pleasures of Horror Film Viewing, was written by State University in New York. Next, I used Going to Pieces, The Rise and Fall of the Slasher Film. I just wanted to say thank you guys very much, and I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you.